Hi everyone, and welcome to another edition of Like, Share, Follow. And this week I have the amazing Phoebe Thomas, who is a digital and content specialist at Tourism Noosa. Welcome, Phoebe.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Great. And so we were just chatting before. You were at USC. It's been a while since you actually graduated, not too long, but it's been a little while. But you took one social media course at USC with it would have been with me in 2016, and that's when we only had one course. That's correct?
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, back then I'm very jealous of all the other guests you've had on because they've had these amazing courses in social and I was lucky enough to be have one of my courses when in my time back at uni in 2016 and it was really awesome back then. We had quite little projects in creating blogs and practicing social media posts. And it was awesome because it actually complemented the job that I had at the time. So it was great to kind of learn some stuff from kind of that educational area and then also put it into practice in my job. Yeah,
that's
awesome.
Great. And so, like with the other people we've had on the show, often, some have been working in the field while they were studying and then graduated. So tell me about that. So what were you doing while you were studying in terms of your career, and then what happened after that until now?
Yeah. So a little bit before I started uni, I finished high school and I actually enrolled in an events course, and that was just through the TAFE. So that actually helped me get into uni, and I was doing lots of stuff in the events world during my volunteering here and there. And then in my final year of uni, I actually got a really awesome internship with a lady who had a small business just out of her home called SS Marketing. She actually no longer exists, but at the time it was such a great opportunity for me and also for her. I was a marketing assistant for her for about a year in my final year of uni, and it turned in the first 2 months of being an intern, it then turned into a paid job opportunity, which was just awesome and the bee's knees at the time, and it was perfect because I had a couple of days with her and then the rest of the time I had doing uni stuff and finishing all of the awesome stuff you do in your final year of uni.
Excellent. And so, and then after that, so when you graduated, so how did you end up at Tourism Noosa?
Yeah, so after I graduated, I did a couple of things. When I graduated, I was only 20. So I was still, I look back at it now and I go, wow, I was actually pretty young to graduate. And I don't think I really knew what I wanted to do and what I wanted to specialize in. But I did have all this background in events management and kind of, volunteering in tourism, but it was actually really challenging, even though I did have that experience throughout uni working in the industry. It was really challenging at that time to find a job on the coast. I think nowadays it's a lot easier because there's these digital marketing agencies popping up everywhere, but back then there was only about 3 or 4 on the coast that were really booming and had opportunity to get in there was challenging. So I actually went down to Melbourne. I worked in a startup company down there for about 10 months. But startups are really interesting because it's not guaranteed that they're actually going to start up. So it was a big learning for me. I was in a different state. It was in the middle of Melbourne winter. And after 10 months, I had to get back up to the sunshine on the Sunshine Coast. So I moved back at the end of 2017, which was my first year out of uni. And I scored this awesome job for Metsong Kings down in Caloundra. So that was great because I kind of headed up their whole marketing and really reported directly to their operations manager who had experience in marketing, and she really guided me to learn and really kind of drill down on that marketing stuff, where that startup was kind of, I was doing bits and bobs, data entry, and it wasn't full on marketing. Yeah. So my Metsong Kings job really did set me up and prepare me for my Tourism Noosa job. I definitely outgrew that role pretty quickly. And I really needed to be in like a marketing team to really, draw off other people's, lingo and, all of those things that you do when you're in a position with a really cool collaborative team. So then I was trying to get up to Noosa because I was doing the commute on either end of the coast, driving from Noosa down to Caloundra, and I was applying to jobs madly. Applied to this job for Tourism Noosa thinking, oh God, there's no way I'm going to get this. It's too good to be true. Grew up in Noosa, it's my dream job. Anyway, here I am 2 years later, been working for Tourism Noosa for 2 years. And yeah, it's just crazy. It's like a roller coaster, but I don't want to get off it.
Yeah. And so tell me, like, what sort of stuff do you do at Tourism Noosa? I know it's social, but explain the actual tasks.
Yeah.
And what sort of day-to-day things does that involve?
Yeah. So when I first started, I've kind of grown with the company. So when I first started, it was a marketing coordinator role, and my role heavily was reporting directly to the head of marketing, really, really focused on social media. So by that stage, I'd had about 3 years really in the industry working in social media. And then I guess over the first year, I then grew into now this specialist role, which is really exciting. So I have a bit more responsibility, and now my everyday as the digital and content specialist is pretty much heading up all of that digital space. So everything from our website, our Google ads, working with, digital, because is only one of me at Tourism Noosa. We do tend to work with digital agencies to get some, manpower, setting that stuff up. And then still social media is my big baby, and I love it so much. And then all sorts of different things in content creation, which is so fun. And that's really where my passion lies, to really, it's just, that whole strategy side, and then putting the content together, that whole, moving piece between both areas is just what I'm really passionate about and what I love.
And I mean, what a place in the world to be able to create content.
Yeah.
You must have one of the best jobs ever.
I know. It's very, very fun. This morning I was actually down at this really awesome local business taking content of their beautiful food that's all about, health food and locally grown produce and really colourful stuff. So it really does vary. Like, I'll be doing shoots with food one day, and then the next day I'm out on Noosa Main Beach on a stand-up paddleboard or something. It's just crazy.
Amazing. And so you were talking before about how you've had some really great mentors as part of your career. So can you tell me, what is a piece of advice that you were given relating to your career that's really stuck with you and helped you?
Yeah, I think that during my last couple of years outside of uni, I think networking is the biggest thing that has been drilled into me, and the importance of that. And I've seen that firsthand. Networking and upskilling are probably the two things. I've been very fortunate with those networking opportunities to have some really great mentors locally in Noosa who help me, and we bounce our ideas off each other that are outside of my immediate team. And at Tourism Noosa, we do hold networking nights because we are a membership-based organisation. So we do network with our over 600 members. And what we're doing is trying to help their business, and that promotes Noosa, because that's what makes Noosa. So networking is huge for me in my role. It just, having conversations like this, drawing on those connections for future opportunity is just so valuable. And yeah, definitely something that I encourage future people coming into the industry to really do. I'm also actually a committee member on for YATEC Southeast Queensland. So YATEC is the Young Australian Tourism Export Council, bit of a mouthful. But basically what that is helping, there's a group of us that and all across from the Sunshine Coast down to Gold Coast, and there's a group of us that we just facilitate some events to encourage people in tourism, particularly young people, to network with each other, because it is really important. And then we're sharing our networks with each other, we're collaborating on different projects, and it's just really awesome to be a part of that. And that just kind of goes back to my point of the importance of networking. I've seen it firsthand, and it's just so valuable.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. And so at uni, what were some of the things that you learned there that have really helped you since you've been out working in the field?
Yeah, definitely. Well, at uni, I really think the biggest thing I took out of that, particularly because social media changes so much, is the importance of research. At uni, what I learnt back in social media all that time ago in 2016, it's not relevant now to me. Like some of the stuff, yes, how to construct a social post, but you can come up with different strategies all the time and stay relevant. So most of that is not relevant anymore because it is such a moving piece. So the research part of it, though, is really what I took out of that, researching everything. Even though I might know the product, I still want to research to see if there's anything I don't know. If I'm constructing a post for something that's happening in Sunshine Beach, or it's a new business on Gympie Terrace down in Noosaville, whatever it is, I always want to do my research to make sure I've got the facts right, because that's our job. We're trying to showcase Noosa as what it is, and we need to know what we're selling, and we need to give true information for people. So and I think that's just an important part of marketing anyway. You always want to have your facts right. So, yeah, research is what kind of I got out of uni and I still use every day.
Absolutely. And even just researching that audience as well, because understanding them before you even construct the post is so important, because it can just fall flat. You get lost in all the other content that they sort of is whizzing by on their newsfeed.
Definitely, very, very important.
And what do you think is something that you wish you'd learned at university that you didn't, and when you got out, you were like, "Oh, I wish I do that."
Yeah, I think it was probably for me. At uni, it was great in the last semester. We did this whole thing around updating our LinkedIn and the importance of LinkedIn. So you did draw in on all those networks. But I think for me, if I learnt that on day one, it would have been so much more beneficial for me because then you're growing those connections as you go. Whatever you've had in a group assignment, you're connecting with that person, you've had that experience, and then you continue that. Having it at the end was still fantastic because then it started you doing that networking connection thing, coming out into your new career. But I think having that from day dot would have been awesome to have. I referenced that I was quite young when I finished uni, so I think I was just having fun. This is fun. I've got friends here, and I just don't think I probably took that as seriously as I probably should have. And now I really realize the importance of that. So I think that's something, that if I had my time again, I'd do better.
And we do embed that more in now. And there's like a course where students are working with real clients. And then at the end, we have an event where the clients who are interested in hiring students on a freelance basis come together with students looking for opportunities. And we, just to even get that practice in. Yeah. We did it online this year because of COVID. And it worked really well. Like we used it on Zoom and they all went out into little breakout rooms and they did their own sort of pitch and stuff. So, we got around it. So it still happened.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing too. Like, where also social media is just, it has been, well, back when I was at uni, it was kind of still a new thing. Like we were still finding out what it is. And now we're just fed this enormous amount of information that we're also learning. And obviously, during your time heading up all of the social media stuff down at USC, it's just a learning thing. And I don't think there's a wrong and right answer to anything on social media. Sometimes I get questions from our members saying, what do you suggest we post about? And I'm like, well, you can, you're trying to tell your story. So you've got to, keep it interesting for people, tell them stuff you don't know, but there's no wrong or right answer. It's finding that out. Yes, you put your strategies behind there, but it's not always going to work as you think. Sometimes you're like, oh, this is awesome to me, but it's posted maybe at the wrong time or, all of those things. So it's just a big whole learning thing, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And a question I haven't asked you yet. So what do you think set you apart from other people going for that role at Tourism Noosa?
I think, to be honest, I grew up in Noosa, so a lot of the other candidates hadn't grown up here. I know the place better than the back of my hand, so that was, something I was gifted with. But also just, I think my passion for social media, being that I'd immersed in all of this stuff on the coast already because I did have all of this past experience in volunteering for local events in Noosa and doing all that other stuff within the community did set me apart. And also just the different experiences that I had. Like I hadn't only worked for an event, I'd also gone down to Melbourne and had a bit of that experience. And there was opportunity for them to mold me a little bit, but also I did have some of that knowledge that was, knowing Noosa, that whole aspect of learning the product as well was not necessary because I already knew most of it. So yeah, definitely set me apart from others. And I mean, if I say that, it's funny that I say that because, I'm sure, and, we've employed people since me that haven't been from locally in the region. And I think that, it's just one of those things that it was a collaboration of all sorts of different things. But I particularly think that past experience, is always really important for people when they're employing. And it can be really hard because I remember how hard it was coming out of uni because the job I was in and in my final year was fantastic for me and I loved it. And then when I finished, she could only offer me 2 days a week and I wanted full time. I was so passionate about getting that experience and I really wanted it and moved states for it and everything. So it can be really hard to find jobs outside of uni. So I think, and now I look at, I've got young friends that are now enrolled in your course and I always say to them, just always talk to me or make your network because you don't know, it comes 360 back around. So yeah.
And there are so many opportunities to gain now practical experience in those courses that take it seriously. You've got because what I found is that students were graduating without enough practical experience, and so many of them they just didn't have the opportunity to do extra internships. So I've embedded it into the courses. So by the time they graduate, they've worked with about 4 or 5 different clients. They've got a portfolio of work for real businesses, and they've had the opportunity to freelance as well. So just take it seriously. Like think ahead. It's not just the uni assignment. Like think of the opportunities. So my little rant. And so, can you tell me, like in the last 2 weeks, what's a social media new thing that you've learned, or new hack, or something that you would like to share with us?
I think, well, obviously Instagram's brought out this Reels thing and I'm obsessed with it. I'm like scrolling through every night. I think it's awesome that Instagram has come out with that to stay relevant. And I mean, it was just funny timing with all of the stuff going on in whether TikTok was going to continue or not. So I've definitely been playing around with that a bit, and we've used some content. A lot of the, Reels is similar to TikTok, and it's quite a youthful thing, and a lot of destinations aren't doing that. So for me, getting on there and being the leader in creating destination content was something I really wanted to do and put out there. And we've seen some great engagement from Instagram Reels, definitely a bit of a spike, which is fantastic. But I also think in engagement-wise, I'm seeing that, particularly for us in tourism, I'm seeing that people really just want to see authentic content. I've seen all of this stuff around about coronavirus and blah, blah, blah. Everyone's just sick of it. They just want to, pretend they're somewhere else or see real stuff because they're sick of all of the, yuckiness out there in the world, I think. And they just want real personal connection. That authenticity is really important. So I've definitely seen a huge increase in engagement on those posts that we're doing, and trying to stay away from our very finely polished content, which still performs great and looks beautiful. But yeah, that authentic stuff. If you've got a little bump in the video, don't worry about it. It's just, this is what it is. It's real. This is Noosa, that type of stuff. But I was reading this morning too. I subscribe to many different publications that share insights. It's another thing. think it's really important too. I believe, as of this morning, that Facebook has launched a new shop tab in the US, and they are testing it over there to see the successes of that. So it would be interesting to see what's in that space in the future. I think they've compared it to Instagram's shop feature as well. So yeah, interested to see how that goes and if they execute that over here in Oz too.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's been a long time coming. So it'd be interesting. I've been talking about it for quite a while. So yeah, I can't wait for that as well.
Yeah.
And so, do you have any advice to give to emerging social media professionals or current students about how to be successful in the field when they graduate?
Yeah, I think that a couple of things. Getting yourself into an internship is critical. I think at the time it was like, oh, I don't need to do that. I'll get a job eventually. It's fine. Getting an internship, obviously that's a part of the course now, and an opportunity that USC now provides. But yeah, that would be a thing for anyone listening. Internships are very important, and keeping the relationship with those internships after you've gone, even if you've just done it for your uni course and then you go your own way after that, keeping that connection is really important. Coming back to that networking piece, keeping those connections, it does come around full circle. And also don't be afraid of putting yourself out there. I think that it's really easy when you're in a learning environment to be a little bit afraid because you're learning, you're not sure about, sometimes I think for myself at uni, I like to stay in the background. I didn't put myself out there very much. I've definitely learnt that in the past experience outside of uni. So I'd encourage anyone going through the course to, network with your tutors, do as much as you can to get the full experience out of it, because that's probably one of my regrets, is that I just went to uni, did my thing, left, did my assignment, and now I'd put a bit more into that and make a bit more effort to network and seek other opportunities available. Yeah.
Excellent. And the most important question of our whole chat today is, who do you like, share and follow?
Oh, well, I really like to keep my finger on the pulse with upcoming digital marketing agencies. Dash of Milk, I love those girls. They inspire me to, one day I'd love to have my own agency and do what they do and be creative like that.
USC grad there, USC grad.
Yeah, so good. So I love those girls and what they do. It always keeps me, on my toes, and their little insights are awesome. I love following you, really.
Oh.
I get on LinkedIn, I'm like, oh yes, what are you up to? So yes, I mean, there's lots of people doing amazing things out there, and I mean, keeping people close locally, I think is really important, because I think we all need to really support each other on the coast, support each other in what we do, and just I can't say networking enough. I don't think. It sounds like I'm obsessed with it, but it's true. I think it's just a thing that makes you passionate too, because you're making these awesome connections with people and seeing what they're doing and sharing that. So I think that it's really cool what you're doing, and having these chats with ex-students is just fantastic, because, it then inspired me to reach out to you and say, hey, I'd love to be involved, because it's just so cool to see other people's experiences and, and kind of get you, it then makes you think, oh, how could I do things differently? Or what have I learned from that conversation? And it just kind of, it's an ever learning thing. So really awesome stuff.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I love it too, because not only do I get to catch up with people, but then I share these chats with current students, because I can talk until I'm blue in the face, and I often do. But they're not really going to listen to me so much as someone who's been through exactly the same experience as them, and they're out now working. So I've just found that really powerful, those sort of almost peer-to-peer discussions, and so that's really why I did it.
Yes.
And do you have anything else to share before we wrap up?
Yes. I think one last thing I'd like to say is that just have fun. Like, social media should be fun. Networking with people should be fun. Being at uni should be fun. And I think, you know, that's what makes this industry so special, is because that, you know, it's a passion piece. You can be creative. You can have awesome connections. You can, you know, help someone and get them, you know, in front of heaps of people. So having fun with it's really important too. I think that resonates in the quality of your content as well. So yeah, having fun and being quirky is something that I love to do, and usually people like that too. So it creates some really engaging content, and yeah, if you love what you do, that's always a bonus.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And before we go, we had Pascal Rousseau. I'm sorry if I've mispronounced your name, Pascal. And he said, I think when you were talking about the importance of networking, he said, that's right. So right on there. So thank you so much, Phoebe. And so next week we have Maddie Agius, who is a media sales coordinator at Hot 91 and Zinc 96, and so they're two radio stations under the Grant broadcasters. So that'll be really interesting. And Maddie actually came with me. I think it was we went on to a social media study tour. I think it was the Vietnam one. So there's also those other opportunities for students as well. We'll see how that goes in light of COVID. Lots of you know, there's lots of things on offer that are around social media now that we have. So that's really great. So thank you so much. And yeah, we'll see you online. And remember to visit Noosa if the are open, and all your Queenslanders come for a day trip or something. Drive up from Brisbane. Yeah, so it's a great place to be.
Yeah, very special part of the world.
So thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, Karen. We'll see you soon. Bye.